Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Segun Odegbami, welcoming you to yet another edition of Galaxy Line, your weekend tonic. Today I bring you one of the brightest stars of Nigerian football in what will look like a tribute to the departed former coach of Super Eagles, Stephen Keshi, who passed on last Wednesday. I shall be featuring one of Keshi's contemporaries who made such a tremendous impact on the Nigerian football scene in the 70s and in the 80s. He had an exciting football career which spanned 2 decades, during which he won 46 caps and scored 23 goals for the Nigerian national team. As a formidable member of the attack component of the national team, he represented Nigeria at the 1976 Olympics in Montreal, Canada, while 2 years later, he played at the 1978 All-Africa Games. Named the 3rd best player in Africa in 1977 and the 2nd best in 1980, my guest today on the show also participated in the match that saw the legendary Shooting Stars of Ibadan winning Nigeria's first continental club trophy, the prestigious African Cup of Winners. That was in 1976. By 1980, himself and his colleagues won the African Cup of Nations. In 1998, he was voted by African journalists for the prestigious FIFA MasterCard Award and also named as one of Africa's 50 best players of the 20th century. He holds a Nigerian National Award and was a sports ambassador. He was made a sports ambassador in 1998, just as he was inducted into Nigeria's Sports Hall of Fame. And when I tell you that the accolade mathematical is attached to the name of this my guest's name for his skill, speed, and dexterity on the field of play, then you know who I have been talking about. I have the honor and privilege to bring for your viewing pleasure on Galaxy Line today the legendary mathematical Patrick Segun Odegbami, the man who started out as an engineering graduate of the Polytechnic Ibadan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. Well, we take a short break at this point. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, you're on to Galaxy Line, your Saturday morning delight. And my guest in the studio today is the one and only mathematical Segun Odegbami. Welcome to the program once again. And by the way, as a kind of tribute to the late Super Eagles coach, Stephen Keshi, who passed on last Wednesday, let me ask you to say 1 or 2 things about Stephen Keshi.
Yeah, first of all, let me use this opportunity to express my deepest sympathy and that of all generations of Nigerian footballers for the passage of my friend, my colleague, and a great Nigerian, Stephen Keshi. I called him Stefano, and he used to call me Segundo. One just has to be philosophical about his death, because as soon as I heard that Wednesday morning, the first thing that came to my mind was, what right do I have to be alive if those who are 10 years younger than myself have died, so many of them have passed on? That one should just be grateful to God for the opportunity of life, for the opportunity that one has to make the contributions that one has made. And as painful as Stephen Keshi's death is, we don't have a choice in when, where we die. That is God's calling. One has to be grateful that Stephen Keshi came, he saw, and he made a great impact on Nigerian football, African football, in fact in world football, because his contributions to Nigerian football are probably unmatched. The only player to have captained the national team, in winning the Nations Cup, in qualifying Nigeria for the World Cup, and to have now managed the team and qualified Nigeria for the World Cup and won the Nations Cup, both as player and as captain. I think those records are unmatched. But beyond that, his humanity is unbelievable. He was the one who actually pioneered the migration of African football players into Europe in the droves that we saw in the early 1980s. He started the exodus, and he helped so many African football players to find a platform and a place in European football. For those contributions, I know that African football will never forget him. But beyond that, Stephen Keshi's death, serves as a reminder of our mortality, that we are here for a short spell, and that whilst we are here, all we can do is just continue to make our contributions to bring change to our sector of the country. So Keshi's death must not go in vain. I can assure you that beyond this interview, we are looking at so many unresolved issues around our own sector, and we shall use his death as a point of reference to make sure that those areas that are naughty, we can now put them in the front burner and ensure that
they are resolved.
They are resolved.
Yes, let's now get into business of the day. Where do we start now? From your failed attempt at clinching the FIFA presidency. This time last year, I'm sure you were preparing very hard. Where did you get the temerity to declare such a tall order, as it were?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't a tall order. This is an area where I had spent most of my life. This is a job that I am very conversant with, and this is a position that was vacant. And politically at the time, one saw a vacuum, that there was a need for change in that sphere. And if you looked at how the trend has been going in football generally, the developments, how people have come and either play or host or administer, you will find that it is like it is going around the continent. And Africa's turn was here. I felt there was a need for an African to position themselves ready to occupy that position. And I in particular, because nobody else had done so, I had the qualifications to do so. I had a clear vision of what to do. And on top of that, I had, records of performance and integrity that football at that time required. So when I put all of those things together, it wasn't a tall order for me. It was something I believed either way I would win. I could become the president of FIFA, which I am not, but the mere fact of daring to do it opens up opportunities for all the young boys and girls in this country to dream big, to dream of possibilities, any possibility. It can be anything that they choose to be. It is their choice.
I'm sure you were aware of some of the criticisms of that move. Some saw it as overambitious. Some felt it was naive. Some said you are not too much of a good team player in pursuit of that particular goal. How do you react to all of these criticisms?
So how do I react? Those are people's opinions based on what they know about me. I can only know myself. So I can't say they are wrong, but as far as I know myself and my activities generally, I don't see myself as, I am a complete team player. The sport we are talking about is football. For you to succeed in football, you have to be a team player. You cannot be a solo player. And that's what I've lived all through my life. In terms of competency to do the job, well, I felt I was competent to do it. I'm the only judge of that myself. And those who supported me, who believed in me, must have seen something also. So, well, what do I really say? But that it is not right for us to limit who we are and limit the possibilities of who we can be. And I believe that's the message, really, beyond the fact that I expressed an opinion I wanted to be the FIFA president. People should have seen it as helping the next generation to dream and to dream big. If for only that reason, I think I deserved praises for even sticking out my neck to say I wanted to be FIFA president.
For daring to dream. Okay, I brought one of my guests here the other day, and he also commented on this particular issue. And his own opinion, like you said, is that Segun was rather over-ambitious. He probably could have started on a low key, on a lower scale, before launching that high. That's what I'm asking you to react to, for instance.
Where did the present president start from? Was he president of his country's football federation? When Issa Hayatu wanted to become CAF president, he came here to Nigeria. He was a secretary in the Cameroon Football Association. Came here in Nigeria to come and take lessons from our own late Patrick Obomo. And within 2 years, he had become president of CAF. So they may say I have been overambitious, but all through my life, I have never done small things. You know, in 2003, I proposed to Nigerians that we should host the World Cup. It wasn't something for me, it was for us here in Nigeria. And I said at that time that we should actually host it with 4 or 5 other African countries. People said it was stupid. But do you know that how many years down the line now, that is what America, Mexico, and Canada are thinking of doing? That is what Salman, the man from Asia who contested the presidency with the present president, that is part of his manifesto, that the next World Cup should be a regional World Cup, and so on and so forth. So that people can see into the future. People have vision of how things should be, and have dreams of what they can do. Cannot be counted as being overambitious. But if that is being overambitious, I readily accept it.
Right. How would you then describe your feeling? That of bitterness, ill feelings, a sense of failure?
No, absolutely. No, my coming out to attempt to be FIFA president has nothing to do with anybody. I stood up and said I wanted I wanted to be given an opportunity. I asked my country to support me. My country didn't support me on time. They waited until the very last minute before those who are afraid, those who didn't believe in me, those who had their own private agenda, shut down the process. So it is them that should feel bad and bitter about what they have done, not me. I have dared myself. I have done what I had to do. And in the end, if it didn't work out, fine, I just go on with my life. So, but it is there, recorded in history, that I made an attempt. And that for me cannot create bitterness or regrets or anything. You know, I just feel that I have done something, I've set standards for our young ones, and it's up to them to take it from there.
Your other fellow African aspirants also lost out somehow. Liberia's Musa Bility, you remember? And South Africa's Sexually, yes. For Bility, the Liberian, his own was that he failed the FIFA integrity test. I don't know what they said happened to Tokyo, but somehow they all lost out. Can we establish what I call a conspiracy theory here against Africa by the Western world?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't want to create what does not exist. But I know for sure that if a Nigerian had come out and Nigeria had supported, and we had gone to do what Chief Olusegun Obasanjo told me Nigeria did when we were contesting for the ADB presidency. When, for example, we just contested and were, elected for the secretary of the of OPEC.
OPEC.
We have an OPEC man.
Very recent one.
It is all politics at the highest level, and Nigerians are master of this game. I believe that if Nigeria had supported me, if we had done what we needed to do, there was a good chance that the Nigerian could have been president of FIFA. A good chance. I'm not saying for sure that would have happened, but there was a good chance that Nigeria could have been.
But where do you lay this blame? Is it that people hated your guts? Or
no, it's not about
what
people.
Are you suspecting?
No, it's not about people.
Or what do you suspect?
The reality was that when I spoke with the Nigeria Football Federation president, he was shocked that position itself sort of
intimidated
him, overwhelmed him. He couldn't think of where I got that idea from. And the first words he expressed confirmed that to me immediately. And other than that, we belong to different political camps. You know, he is...
You and the president?
Yeah, of course. He is purely a product of the PDP. You know, I am a member, full member of the Afenifere Renewal Group, the progressive group in Yoruba land. And we have our sympathies completely for APC. You understand? So, and in looking at it from that perspective, he had just come in as president of the Nigerian Football Federation. Even his position was a little bit shaky concerning all the controversies and so on. And I think deep down, he did not have access, direct access, to the powers that be within the present political setup. So when I told the government, I actually saw Mr. President one-on-one, and I sold the idea to him. And he promised that they were going to do things to support, to make sure that it happened. There was a breakdown in communication between the presidency and the Nigerian Football Federation because of that lacuna in terms of the
politically.
Yes, politics. So by the time that the government realized that there was no time, and they got across to the president of the Nigerian Football Federation,